afternoon and welcome to the Angénieux webinar. It is a second session dedicated to the Optimo Prime lens presentation. I am Cyril Serrano. I am the Managing Director of Marketing and Sales. So thank you very much to join us for this webinar. First, as you know, my first thoughts are with all those that have been affected by the virus, and thanks to the health worker to help us in fighting this virus. As you know, the cinema industry and globally the culture is particularly affected all over the world. And the shootings have been stopped, rental house and cinema have been closed, shows are cancelled for the latest 2-3 months. But now we have some good news. In France, we have just reopened the cinema, and we really hope that the business will come back as before this pandemic. So this aim of this webinar is to keep contact with you and to inform on our products, as we could have the information during the exhibition, because as you know, the exhibition has been completely cancelled for the year. So for this presentation, I am with Pierre Duguet, the program manager for the Optimo Prime Series. Hello, Pierre. And I am with Jean-Yves Le Poulin, the cinema advisor Angénieux, DOP and AXA member. Hello, Jean-Yves.
Hi.
So this webinar will be in 2 parts. The first is presentation of products made by Pierre, Jean-Yves, and myself. And the second part will be a Q&A with Dominique Rouchon, my deputy, as an interviewer. So I really encourage you to send your questions all during this presentation with the Q&A section in the top of the Zoom applications. So this webinar will take place approximately 1.5 hours, depending of the questions you will have. And we will answer all the questions you will write this. So again, thank you very much to be with us. I propose you to start by the introduction of the products. Okay, so the Optimo Prime Series is the latest high-end collection developed by Angénieux. You can switch on the first slide, please, Amy. Okay, so we have launched a family of 12 prime lens from 18 to 200 millimeter, who perfectly match full frame camera. So you can read all the focal lengths. We have 18 millimeter, 21, 24, 28, 40, 32, sorry, 50, 60, 75, 100, 135, and 200. So it is a completely genuine cinema design based on the director of photography recommendation. And as you know, for a long time, Angénieux adds innovation and technology on all these products. And for Optimo Prime, we propose you several series in one with customizable lenses or configurable lenses with internal glass element interchangeable, with interchangeable iris, and with rear filter. And all this possibility you can use to express your own creativity. And we call this new concept internal optical palette. We call it IOP. And with IOP, you could fine-tune and spice your creativity and your image. So the Angénieux Prime series is Optimo optical quality. You could find 200 lines per millimeter as a resolution, and with a specific design for each focal length. There is a T-stop of 1.8 for the whole range, except the extreme, and a T2 for 18 millimeter and T2.2 for the 200 millimeter. And it is also the Optimo-class mechanics. You will have the same feeling. You can also have the famous Angénieux look, the Optimo look, and they match perfectly the latest zoom that we launched 2 years ago. It's the Optimo Ultra 12 time. So, and now Angénieux has a full global solution and solid global solution with prime and zoom that you could use on a shooting. So the next slide, please. So we have launched this Optimo Prime 1 year ago during the Cannes Film Festival, and we presented the first units to Bruno Delbonnel. It was a 40mm, and his first award was amazing and gorgeous. So he was very happy to test the lens last year, and we plan to this year we plan to present it during the Cannes Film Festival. Unfortunately, the festival has been cancelled, so we decided to present the 6 first lens available for demonstration on the red carpets. Next slide, please. So regarding the delivery schedule, so for the moment we have the 6 first focal lengths ready for demonstration: the 21, the 28, the 40, the 50, the 75, and the 135mm. And the production and the availability for the delivery will be in September, or in Q3 of this year. The next focal length will be the 80mm and the 32, who should arrive in production in Q4 of this year. And beginning of next year, in a Q1, you will have the focal length 100, and later in Q2, the 24, the 60, and the 200mm. So it will be quite ready to test it on the movie very soon. For the next please. So we propose the Optimo Prime series in 3 sets. The first set is a platinum set, including the 12 focal lengths, 12 full frame lenses at 248,000 euros. You have also the gold set with 9 on the 12 full frame lenses. And we have a baby set, it's a silver set, we call it silver set, with 6 full frame lenses. It's 124,000 euro. And it is the central the central focal length used for the movie: the 21, 28, the 40, the 60, the 75, and the 135mm. Next. In the world, we work with Bond Pro for the sales and support for the Optimo Prime series in all Americas. And we work with Shepsen in Asia, who covers China and Australia and other Asia countries. And for the rest of the world, mainly Europe, Russia, Africa, and Middle East, we work directly. And in this case, you can contact directly Benoît Brespontier or David Tarzian, the sales manager on this Zoom lens. Next, so I will let the floor to Pierre Duguet, the program manager of the Optimo Prime series, and he could explain you in more details, in technical details, this Optimo Prime series.
Thank you, Séverine. So as Séverine said, I'm Pierre Duguet. I'm program manager for all Optimo Prime series. And first of all, I want just to detail a little bit more details information with specification. As Séverine said, we are for all the product with a T-stop T number of 1.8 for all the product of the central point for 18 with T number of 2 and F200 with T number of 2.2. So a very nice aperture with full frame coverage, of course, and very interesting product with T-stop. As a MOD, most of our product, especially our short focal lengths, have a very short MOD with 1 feet and 2 inches. Very short MOD for all the product from 18 to 40. And for the other product, it's going up to 4 feet to the F200. So very short MOD too for the long focal length. For the field of view, I don't want to detail everything, but of course, this value will be available for all the product. And for length of the product, as you can see here, all the products are really compact with very short lengths, only 128 millimeters, less than 13 centimeters for almost all the product, as you can see here. 21 and 135, a little bit longer, and extreme as 18 and 200, again longer, up to 19 centimeters for the F200. But what is very important to keep in mind is that all the products are really compact. And for weight, all the products are less than 1 kilogram and 1.7 kilograms for most of the product here. So very lightweight product, very compact and lightweight. And you can go up to 2.3 kilograms for the biggest one for the F200. But most of the products are really less than 1.7. Next slide, please. All these products are, of course, very nice in terms of mechanics, Optimo-class mechanics with the focus with very high precision and really nice precision as we did on all our products, and with the good feeling we can have for all the products. They have a constant volume, means that all the product keeps its compacity even when you use the focus, of course. And optically speaking, they are very high level of quality with 200 lines per millimeter for the resolution in the center, very nice resolution, and all across the image for the field too. All these design, all these focal lengths are really designed separately with the different optics, and they are perfectly matched with Optimo Zoom series and with the Optimo Ultra 12 time, with the famous Angénieux look, with colorimetry, with type of image, will be perfectly matched with all our other product and our set. All Optimo Prime have the same type of image or feeling. They have the same round bokeh all across image plan, and of course, very well designed together. For each product, as we will see in the next video we will present you, we can change iris or internal glass element. I will go into details about this type of things later, and it's very easy to change it to express all DOP creativity for all the effects you want to create. Iris is a linear one with 80 degrees angle, and focus is a non-linear, as we have for Optimo Zoom collection with 320 degrees for the focus angle. So a very large focus angle for focus rotation angle. Of course, for focus angle, you can go beyond infinity, and you have, as I said just before, a very close focus, 1 feet and 2 inches at least for the short focal length. All these products are ready for all the electronics connection and metadata with IOP protocol. You can see here the connector, and for the PL mount, you have a connector here. And they will be all the product LDS2 compatible. For all the product, you have a direct fit focus ring, and you can convert it to meter by just changing the same ring from feet to meter, just by reversing the ring into the product, and it will take only 5 minutes to change it. All these products, as I said, are very compact, and you can see that they are very small and with only a 95 millimeter front diameter for all of the products. All the products are really the same. with the same front diameter, and only the 200 will be with a standard, another standard with 114 millimeters as a front diameter. Next slide. Of course, for capacity and compatibility, sorry, they are all with PL mount as a standard, and we will propose a LPL mount as an accessory. All the Optimo Primes works with full frame and super certified camera, and they are all compatible with all full frame camera from the market. Of course, you have all the list, part of the list here, but they are compatible with all the products. In terms of field of coverage, they have a 46 millimeter coverage. Next slide. Just let's have small information with integrated optical palette. As Severin said, all these products are already prepared to be specialized, to be customized with specific design and specific palette availability for creativity. And we will propose as a standard a 9 blades iris. On all the products, you will have a 9 blades iris into the product. And we will propose a 3 blades iris as an option, a 6 blades iris, a novel iris, very interesting for anamorphic like a bokeh, and a very round one with more blades could be available too. It means that you will have 4 more iris availability to customize all the Optimo Primes like you want. And for internal glass, very accessible from the front of the product, just here, we will propose you a diffusion glass, like a vintage effect. In fact, you will have the possibility to add some flare, customize image, especially on the field of the image. And you will have anamorphic-like streaks and blue reflection combined with oval iris. 3 different glass elements to have more option and more effects to add to your image directly into your product. And the last thing you can change and you can personalize into the product is a rear filter element. Here, unscrew this element and you can change it with industry standard screw-in thread, 40.5 millimeter for super 35 or 46 millimeter for full frame, and you can add some effects directly and very accessible directly on the back and the rear of the product. So it's a third possibility to change effects into the image into this product: iris, internal glass element, or rear filter. And we will have a look on a small video just to show you how we can access to the internal elements and how it's easy to access it. Okay, it will be a start. A few seconds. Here you can just see the product. Here you have the example of a F40. But it will be exactly the same way, changing all the elements for the product. We move the front ring, the front cover. Just unscrew them. Move 6 screws in the front to access to the first group of topics. You can remove it. So removing this first front element with optics, you can access very easily to all the internal glass element and iris. And remove the filter holder. You have a wooden ring. Access directly to the internal glass element and change it to another one. And you can access directly to iris. You will propose specific link to access the element. Right done. Right procedure. Very easy. And you have to bend your iris and one can access the method. Again. Here you can just have a look at the 9-plate iris with the bokeh simulation and the simulation for a 6-plate. Of course, it will change as bokeh. And here for a 3-plate in the bokeh, you have seen the difference in different elements. For internal glass element, as I said, you can have different behavior. On the simulation here, you have images in different directions. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon, everybody. So it's now time for us to share some images with you that were made by Jean-Yves. So I'm sure you all know Jean-Yves. Jean-Yves has been working with us since 2009 and has been Angénieux cinema advisor since then. So Jean-Yves, could you please tell us when and where and how you made these images, and which lenses did you use?
So we shoot with the 40mm, the first one of the sets, with the students in extreme conditions, very high light. You will see on the pictures, magic hour and by night, and let the student have their own feeling, because it is the most important thing. It is the feelings that you have when you put the eye in the finder. You fall in love or not, in fact. This is a fun thing. And after we try to explain and to understand why we have this feeling. So we were looking for the bokeh, of course, which is a major aesthetic point, and to confirm that it will match with our zooms in the same spirit. That is to say, we love the details, but we hate the contrast. Okay. So all these shots are about that, how it reacts with very high contrast, what is the bokeh, how it looks like, and when shifting the focus, how the lens reacts, you know, for a very close up to the infinity and back to all is about that, in fact.
Okay, Rémi, please, can you show us the images?
Yeah, I think it's better to be on. So, hello people.
You can launch the video.
Could be better, Paul, with our lens. No pictures? My best one?
It should come. Here we are.
Yeah. So in very low light, wide open, in the Musée de la Mine. And we are looking, there is very high contrast in the back, how it reacts with the black zone of the door. Does the light, you know, diffuse in the black, which is not really sexy. It's one of the characteristics. And how the focus rack, you know, from the long distance to the shorter, wide open. Oh, we are missing a part of the shot anyway. I contrast again. It is one of the characteristics, sorry, of a good lens, of course. How this very high light react in the shadows. Close focus, with very shocked. It's not. I have no more picture. Here it is. How the bokeh reacts without shifting, of course, the focus. It's one of the characteristics of this lens, in fact, about the bokeh. You know, even if it is really out of focus, the background is always readable. For me, it's very important. A white shot in the Musée de la Mine. Very hard to see it directly in that conditions, but what is very interesting is that you don't feel the focus. I mean, the transition between each distance in the depth of field is very, like the Optimos, is very smooth. About the skins, in high contrast, always very critical, of course. And you know, the picture, the skin is very smooth. A lot of details, but without the contrast, it is very. It's very. I can't say sexy about this guy, but it's the skin is very soft, and but the details is there. On the big screen, of course, it's more obvious. So it's about the shifting of the focus, how it reacts. Does it shock? Is it progressive like with the zooms? Always wide open. No, it was 2.8 here. And you see the quality of the bokeh even in the highlights. With no flares, you know, in the black, in the trees, for example. And the skin is very nice. Without any diffusion, of course. I mean, there is nothing on the lens, obviously. We are looking for the defaults. So it's about the bokeh again. You will see it in 2 minutes. And the details and the resolution in the whole picture. It's one of these characteristics of these lenses. I mean, they are very homogeneous. It's sharp, you know, all over the picture. There is no dissymmetry. It is not only in the center, which is, of course, very important on a wide shot. Wide open, no, 2.8 here. And all about the skins, how it reacts in full frame with over the shoulder. And you see the bokeh in the background is very round. You always can see, even if it is really out of focus, it's you can always identify what is in the back. Some critical lenses, you know, you don't see, you are losing, you have a lot of astigmatism in the bokeh, so you can't identify what is in the background. And of course, because it's quite open, you see the bokeh, how it reacts in the highlight in the trees on the left side. Like very much this bokeh. Minimum of focus to see how it reacts, and if the focus is critical, it is not. In fact, it is not critical because the lens has a good size, not too small, with you know, to be very critical about the development of the focus mark. I mean, I think the compromise between the ergonomy, the weight, and the size is, I think, is very, very comfortable for the focus puller. High contrast again. Of course, it will be so good to have a big screen. And you see, the picture is never chirurgical, like the lens, like the zoom lenses. In fact, we are really in the same mood. But at the same time, we can be more open, so it could be more critical. No, it reacts very well in that condition, especially. No smoking, or anyway. And you see the bokeh in the background is always readable. It's really out of focus, but the structure of the bokeh is complete. So even in shifting, sometimes if something is happening in the back, it could be very interesting to stay in the front, in fact, because the background will be readable. So it was the first test with the 40mm LOPA. And of course, we will go on with other tests with the other lenses as soon as we can get out into the street and shoot again.
Okay, super. Thank you, Jean-Yves.
My pleasure.
Now we will go to the Q&A, the questions and answers. So we have actually only a very few questions, some comments, but the major question is, can we have these slides? So yes, of course, this information will be available on our website. Not exactly the same slides, but at least the same data. And the images as well will be sometimes available on our website as well. So if you have questions to ask now, it's really the time. We have a question from Tyler. Can you show the pricing once more? So maybe Séverine, would you like to repeat the pricing information for us?
Maybe we can have on the presentation on the slide. Yes. And, okay. Come back on this. Okay, it is the offer. So we propose three different sets for the customer. The first one is a platinum set, including the 12 lens. It's all the lens, and the price is 246,000 euros. There is a gold set with 9 full frame lenses inside, with the price of 188,000 euros, and a small set, we call it the silver set, including the 6 full frame lenses, is 124,000 euros. It is a price list, and depending of where you are come from, you can ask directly Bond Pro if you are from America for a quotation. And if you are from Asia, you can ask directly to Jepsen. And for the rest of the world, you can ask us directly.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Anvesh. So how risky is changing the iris and the front glass element? This is a question for Pierre.
Yes.
Good answer.
Yeah. We hope it's not too risky, of course, and that's why we will propose specific tooling to be sure that all optical elements and all iris and glass, internal glass, are well respected and well done. You have to keep in mind that this kind of operation has to be done by rental houses with specific condition. You have to be well trained and just have the habits with optics and optics changing. It's not something you can change just like that one day. We are element for the glass. You can change it very easily. It's very easy to access. For the internal glass and iris, I think it's not too risky, but you have to be trained and to have the proper tooling.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Howard. Fascinating innovations. Thank you, Howard. There was mention of variable minimum object distance. Is that the case? Pierre, another question for you.
It's not exactly a variable minimum of distance. It's just because of each focal length has different minimum of distance. All the short focal lengths has a very, very short minimum of distance with 1 feet and 2 inches. And all the other products have another minimum of distance, and it goes up to 4 feet. But each product has its own minimum of distance, of course.
Okay, thank you. A question from Sam. Will the lenses ship with a clear filter in the rear filter holder? And will you provide the thickness of that filter if so? As filters will affect back focus and would like to avoid needing to have separately shipped mounts for lenses with filters. So we're lucky enough today to have Paul Fuller, who is our senior optical designer. So this question will be handled by him. Paul?
You can answer all the questions.
Sorry, I was on mute. Hi, everybody. So yes, the rear filter, there is a clear rear filter included with each product, yes.
And for the rest of the question?
And could you repeat it?
Of course, yes, no worries. Let me go back.
What about the thickness, Paul, please?
Yeah, the thickness. So the thickness is 2 millimeters. There you go.
Okay, and as filters will affect back focus and would like to avoid needing to have separately shipped mounts for lenses with filters. Do you want me to? Yeah.
So if that rear filter is changed for a different filter, then you either need to ensure that it is at 2 millimeters within a couple of tens of microns, or you need to be prepared to change the back focus to adjust for that.
Okay, thank you. Another question for Séverine from Oliver. Do you have a price for individual lenses, Séverine?
So in fact, we don't sell Optimo Prime by lenses only. So we don't provide the unit price for each lenses. That I can say is if you have the platinum set, the average of the focal length is roughly 20,500 per lens. But again, we don't sell the lens by lens. You can have either a choice with a silver set with 6 lenses, a gold set with 9 lenses, and a platinum set with 12 lenses.
Okay. We have another question from Danny. Bonjour. I also saw some images made by John Farrow, which looked very nice. That is right. These images, there will be an article soon in FD Times regarding these images John made. When can we expect to see the different effect elements you have announced? Also, will DOPs be able to customize their looks with special intentions with the help of Angénieux? or will they need to sort things out themselves? Maybe it's a mix between Séverine and Pierre. So maybe Séverine, you can start with the time.
Actually, we define which kind of filter we will test, and we should start test with Jean-Yves and with the team very soon, and we should be able to provide the prices of this component probably in 1 month.
Okay.
I think we'll be ready for end of the year in terms of availability.
And will DOPs be able to customize their looks, Pierre, with special intentions with the help of Angénieux, or
Yes.
will they do all that things by themselves?
Yeah, it could be good ideas, and we are open about discussing on this type of subject.
Okay. Question from Pierre. Hi, what is the precise film plane coverage? Question mark. 31 millimeters? Question mark. Pierre or Paul?
Paul?
Yeah, I can do that one. So the image coverage is beyond 46 millimeters diagonal. So we cover all of the full frame digital cameras, and I think we also cover the 5K of the Alexa 65 as well. So you cover the full frame market.
Okay, super. Question from Tyler. Would I be able to upgrade from silver to gold and so on and so forth? So that is for Séverine.
Yes, for the moment, the main offer is by set, as I explained. But in a few months, we probably open, of course, to upgrade from silver to gold, and also to gold to platinum. To complete, if you start with only 6, it's normal. If you want to complete, we will give this possibility by offer probably later in the year.
Okay. So I think we are at the end of our questions. So we'll give you maybe a few seconds if you have extra questions, and then we will conclude this seminar. Yeah, a question from 19. If we need to see the lenses demo in the India, is it possible? Question for Séverine.
Yes, it is probably possible to loan product or to visit you when it will be possible due to the current worldwide situation. For the India market, it is Benoît Brice-Pontier who is in charge of, and Cine, it is our partner to represent Angénieux in India. So don't hesitate to discuss directly with Cine or with Benoît Brice-Pontier.
Question from Tyler for Jean-Yves, maybe. Can you say how they perform wide open? Jean-Yves, what can you tell us about the performance wide open of the lenses?
Yeah, I put the micro on. Yes, of course. It is one of, and especially for my generation. I mean, when I start to work in 1980, it was very difficult to find lenses which are very good wide open. And these lenses are really very good wide open. It is really a choice. It gives the possibility really for the DP not to think about the quality level in working in that wide open in that stop or the other one. That is to say, the structure of the picture can really be done by eye, choosing a stop because you like the structure of the picture that you can have without thinking about the quality level of the lens. This is a new thing, in fact, about the quality level from the wide open to different stop. Again, at my period, the point, most of the time, wide open, it was very difficult. The lens was not very good. And not only in the center, but everywhere. It's so this lens, of course, you really can choose the stop that you want to work with it, the relation with the background, and without thinking about the level of quality. It's one of the things. And at the same time, the contrast is very constant. Even if you go on a very, you close very much lens, the contrast does not change. On vintage lenses, wide open most of the time, I mean, the quality is really critical. It is not the case. The picture is wide open, is very homogeneous. And at the same time, the contrast changed from one stop to the other, which was a big deal. In that case, you don't have to think about that. You just look for the stop and the relation that you want from the front to the background that you want to create. And you have, you must not be upset about the quality level. It is really, really steady. I think one of the big things is, again, is to put the eye on it. And I think all the tests, I'm not afraid about that. All the tests will be done with the DPs. And I think they, like Bruno at Cannes, when you put your eye again in the finder, it is always the same story. You like it or you don't like it. And you will see that with the bokeh and so on, it creates a specific feeling that you keep. You know, it's not a question of quality level. It is really a question of structure of the picture. But
okay.
to answer directly the question, yes, of course, wide open, the lens is very good and everywhere. And it stays very constant at all the stops. So you choose your stop depending on what you want to create, and don't think about the quality level, it is there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for this detailed answer, Jean-Yves. Question from Marcus. Is there already sample footage of the 18mm and 200mm by the magnific Jean-Yves? You have a fan club, Jean-Yves?
Oh, thank you.
Not yet. I can answer to Marcus. Not yet, Marcus, because this is not available yet. But we will make images in the coming weeks and months as soon as we have the complete sets, of course. Question from Pierre. May you show again the slide of the availability of the lenses? Thanks. So Rémi, if you can show us back the slides about the availability for Pierre.
And maybe we can just add that even 18 is not ready now. It will come very soon. F200 are part of the last product availability, probably more early months of 2021. But you can see here, we have already the silver set. And in the silver set, you have the F21, 21 very close from 18, and F21 is already available. And you have the 135 already available. So it's not exactly the true extreme, but it's part of the extreme. And you have already 6 products available now with the silver set for demo and very soon for delivery. And if you find again the slide 4, Rémi, with the availability of the product, silver set will be available for Q3 of 2020. The slide 4 from Severin. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Here you are.
Yeah, just before. So the silver set will be available for Q3 of 2020, F18 and F4 of 2020, end of the year, F100 just at the beginning of 2021, and the last 3 products, 24, 60, and 300, available for Q2 of 2021. So here you have the full availability of the 12 products for the full set.
Okay, super. A question from John for Paul. Do you need collimation after removing and changing internal elements, Paul?
we have to recalibrate after changing internal elements? No. No, the product is designed so that when you take out the elements, change the insides and put it back together, that they sit exactly back where they were. And obviously you'll want to maybe check in projection, but we've been testing them all, and you come back to your original setup.
Okay, fair enough. I keep you, Paul, for the next question from
Just
Dave.
to complete the answer, sorry. Very important to know that the interchangeability doesn't change anything into the setup, as Paul said. But as you remove the ring, the focus ring mark from the product, you have to place it again. And here you have to adjust the placement of the ring just by marking the product or by using projection or other you have just to be sure that the focus mark ring is well placed.
Okay, thank you, Pierre. Question from David for Paul. What inspired the decision to finally produce a set of prime lenses? So Paul, I know you've been part of this team at the very beginning. So can you explain us what was part of the decision to make these primes?
Wow. Well, Angénieux, we've been known for cinema lenses and prime lenses and zoom lenses for a long time. We were making prime lenses before we were making zoom lenses. And now to come back into prime lenses with the arrival of full frame cameras, it seemed like the right moment to come back onto the market with this and to have a full set of prime lenses that fit and match with our full frame zoom lenses.
And another reason is because the customers ask for a long time to have prime in the range of the product. So it's also a good reason to decide to do it for our customers.
And there is, if I can complete, I mean, the picture at 1.8 is very different, of course. I mean, the relation in depth of field and it's a new space. It's a new aesthetic, depending of the wide open, of course. So it's a choice.
Okay.
It was easier, of course, to go around this wide open stop with a prime than with a zoom, of course. So it brings a new space of working. The picture is very different from 2.8 to 1.8, of course. So it's different. It's a choice, and again with no risk. I mean, to lose quality wide open. The lens is very good wide open, and it is not a question of optical performance. It's really a question of choice, in fact, of aesthetic.
Okay, thank you. A question from Tyler about the raw files from Jean-Yves' tests. So Tyler, so far it's not planned to give all these raw files as public, to make these files public, but I'm sure Jean-Yves will be pleased to answer your questions and share images with you and have a dialogue with you if you're interested on having more information about these tests. Next question from Fran. Have Angénieux teamed up with any filter company to make high quality wear filters available? Either Paul or Pierre, would you mind answering this question, please?
Yes, I can answer. We are working with all filter company to add some proposal with this wear filter, and we have no specific contract with anybody, and we are well open with everybody to work on it.
Another question from Howard for Pierre again. Can Pierre expand on what possibility to go beyond infinity and close focus means? Thank you.
Yes, I think Paul can maybe
okay.
add. more detailed
Sure.
information from the optics point of view.
So as with our zoom lenses, always on our focus rings, we enable the product not only to go to infinity, but you can keep focusing beyond infinity, which gives an extra level of an artistic detail if you want to go beyond infinity and come back in, rather than sometimes be blocked at infinity and not be able to just go that little bit further. And also at the short end, where most of them are the short focal lengths are 1 foot and 2 inches, 14 inches. But you still got the possibility of going a little bit closer on all of the focus rings.
Okay. Second question from Marcus. Is it right that it would be possible to have a first AC change the iris blade on set, for example, in the camera track within reasonable time and calculable risk, so to use a different blade for the reverse shot? So Pierre or Paul, would you mind answering that?
Yeah, so we would not advise that. We would advise setting up 2 objectives beforehand, so that you would have the 2 objectives ready and you can switch them over as you want during the shoot. But the actual change in the right conditions in a rental house is around 10-15 minutes. It's as you saw in the film from Pierre, unscrewing a few screws, taking a couple of bits out, doing the swap, putting back together, just quickly checking in projection that nothing's happened, which is the case, and then you're off.
Okay, thank you. Question from Tay. Will you make a full frame compact zoom? So that is a strategy question for Séverine.
Yes, so effectively in the range of our product, we have already compact full frame zoom with the easy line. We have an easy 1 and easy 2 with very compact zoom lens. Of course, it's not an Optimo. For full frame, we have also the big one, but it's not your questions. So for sure, we are thinking about optical compact Optimo full frame zoom. Maybe in the question, maybe you could say which kind of focal length are you interested in? It could be helpful for us in our reflection.
Okay. Another question from Howard. Thinking out loud, as you considered posting high-res samples of the new primes from still cameras. So as I said before, Howard, John Farrer, who is the head of FD Times, has made some images with a still camera. And there will be an article soon in the next FD Times about that. And you may contact John Farrer from FD Times to have more information about that. So far, this is what is existing for still cameras. Sure, other images will be made. I think we are at the end of our questions so far. So maybe it's time for us to conclude, Séverine.
So before to propose you a small bonus, after my conclusion, we propose you to have to see a small show reel done by Randy Weddick, a colleague from a DP from Bond Pro in US, who make a small show reels with the 40mm, the 28 and the 135mm. So I would like to thank you to be with us today, and we will keep you in touch with you because we will organize another webinar, but maybe we'll more technical on some points. Today it was more a general one on the Optimo Prime Series. Next one should be on the IOP, the internal optical palette, or another subject and on different zones. So thank you very much to be with us from America, Europe, and also from Asia. And see you later. I let you with a small movie from Randy Weddick from Bond Pro. Thank you very much. Goodbye.